Welcome to another video, and this time we're spending 2 nights herping around Krabi in Thailand, while staying at a beautiful resort up near one of the national parks. Now, because I'm still a bit new to making these herping videos, and I haven't quite got the format bang on, I actually didn't do an intro to the video, so it may seem like it just jumps from animal to animal a bit, but hopefully you'll still enjoy it. Starting with this tokay gecko, which I didn't talk about, but like many places in Thailand, they were abundant around the wooden huts we stayed in. Now onto some more finds.
Just got a big Phrynoides asper, giant river toad, and that is big. It doesn't look it probably on the video, but I'm quite far away. He is a good 2-fist sized toad. First snake of the night is a malayanpitviper, calloselasmarhodostoma. Similar to the one we found in Sok, slightly smaller, but this is still an adult. It's got slightly subdued patterning, but a much more distinct dorsal line down the back there. That's a good start to the night. Well, after that little calloselasma, these guys have headed home, but I'm gonna push on alone for a few more hours, see if we can find any more snakes. Guys, look at the size of this mangrove snake. This is huge. That's easily a 6-foot mangrove snake. I cannot believe it. What a beautiful snake to find. Wow. Just down by the river here, in classic mangrove snake habitat. This is boigamelanota, and what a beautiful, huge adult specimen. What a snake to find. That's the highlight of the evening for sure. Look at the size of this mangrove snake. That's my hand next to it. That's a huge mangrove snake. Guys, I don't know if you can hear me because we're right next to the river, but that is a beautiful snake to find. That is the highlight of my whole trip, let alone just tonight. That's a gorgeous snake. Really big melanota, really defensive as well. And this isn't it's not a snake you want to get bitten by, especially not this size. Well guys, this snake got real defensive on me real fast, so I actually don't want to disturb it too much because we already have. So I'm going to just walk away from this snake now. I'm not going to try and put it back where it was or anything like that. I'm just going to walk away and let him calm down. But that's a fantastic snake. It is the iconic cat snake, member of the boiga genus. One I've always wanted to see. It's arboreal, it's aquatic, and we saw it just, I suppose, working terrestrially along the side of the stream here, in classic situation where you'd find these snakes. So that is a fantastic experience and encounter for me. And we're going to leave this beautiful snake go now.
They seem to have loaded a little bit grainy, but I've popped in some photos of this snake just to show it a little better, as the phone footage wasn't really the best. Then I went on to find a few more species that I didn't talk about in the brain, such as this bent-toed gecko and some frog species, which I risked getting the phone out for some quick footage, the IDs of which I've displayed on screen.
Size of this thing, and that's not even as big as they get. What a toad. I just thought I'd try and get a bit of film because I know these to be very slippery customers, but this is a Sicilian. I believe this is called the Kotao Sicilian, this species. And if anyone doesn't know what they are, Caecilians are a legless amphibian. They're not a snake, they're not a legless lizard, they're not an amphibian, nothing like that. They are a legless amphibian. This footage is not the best, but I think it's the best I'm going to get in the rain. This is getting a little bit suboptimal. It has been absolutely mashing it down for a good half an hour now, and I'm just worrying about the camera gear all the time. I'm not hugely enjoying it anymore. Usually I'd quite like to be rocking around a rainforest in a rainstorm looking for snakes. That's the kind of daft thing I usually find fun, but right now I just want to get this this camera gear dry, so I think I'm going to head home. After those rains have stopped, unsurprisingly it's brought another snake out, and we've just all heard the shout, and these guys have found another mangrove catsnake, boigamelanota. This is a much smaller individual, and the bands on this one do not go all the way around. They go sort of halfway up the flank and then stop and don't go over the dorsal, which is quite interesting. But it is a beautiful, pristine snake. And again, I'm really pleased to see it.
I awoke the next morning and went for a quick daytime walk, which only yielded a few lizards, which you'll see in now. However, before I get into the second night of Krabi herping, I wanted to share with you a few finds of a recent herping trip I took to Phuket, which didn't make the cut for a full video, but hopefully you'll enjoy seeing some of the finds. The snakes which you're seeing now are from that trip, including one of my favourite finds in Thailand, this bandedkrait, which we removed from a rural road. Usually I've been herping alone, but because I'd never been to Phuket, I'd asked around previously to see if anyone in the area was up for taking me herping, and I ended up going out with a very experienced guy called Ivan, who knows the spots very well. Now, since I've been in Thailand, a few people have messaged me asking if I can take them or show them spots, or if I know anyone who can. Now, Ivan actually runs herping tours around Phuket, and based on my experience with him, I thought he's the best guy to recommend to anyone who's looking for some guided herping. You're in for a chance of finding some amazing species such as the banded kraits, really cool endemics like this Phuket pitviper we found, another highlight of my trip, and a snake very easy to miss on a trip, so I've included a few pics of that on screen now, waggler's vipers, plus a whole range of colubrids. In my case we got vine snakes, mock vipers and black banded keelbacks. Again, I've popped some pictures of these in here, plus many more possible species. So if anyone is interested, I've put his Instagram on screen now, and feel free to drop him a message. Okay, now back to the second night of herping that I did in Krabi. The second night I chose to target mangrove vipers and water snakes at first by walking along a mangrove boardwalk trail, before heading up into a national park trail to search for the final target, the beautiful pitviper.
Well, the first snake of this mangrove walk is this little Malayan bridlesnake, which is Lycodon subannulatus. I had to check actually, because I've never seen any of the bridle snakes before, and I wasn't sure if this was Davidson's bridle snake, but I have now confirmed it is the Malayan bridle snake. And I did have to check because we found him just on one of these posts, and you do get banded kraits here, so I did have to be very careful that this wasn't a little banded krait, especially because you can see how bitey he is, which actually surprises me for this species, but I suppose it is a lycodon, which is the genus of wolf snakes. So it's not surprising, but it's quite an interesting snake. It's a first for me, and I have actually not found many colubrids this trip, so to get, stop biting, wow, so to get a little colubrid is quite nice. We'll do some stills and then we'll get this one back to the mangroves.
I just want to say, if you see a welding glove in these clips, please don't think I'm using it for handling any venomous snakes, as of course I don't recommend this. However, due to the records of lycodon species in the area, I did pack the glove to avoid their quite nasty bite, which the glove is perfect for.
Okay, so just grabbed a couple of pictures and we're going to get this little guy back. I say little guys, but they're not big snakes. A really big one would be say 2.5 to 3 feet, whereas this one, if I do a little size comparison, you can see it's not a big snake at all. It'll be little tiny geckos, little lizards that you find around here in the mangroves, but this will also be prey itself to things like kraits. So we're going to get this one back now because we've taken up enough of his time, and I'm just going to pop him back exactly where he was, which was, we just found him just on the corner here. I'm going to put him there, make sure he doesn't fall off. and he's going to go on his way.
Again, I've put some pictures in to show this snake, as they're often quite an overlooked species, and also the footage wasn't that great quality.
Well guys, we finally found it. We have just got to the end of the boardwalk, right to the end, and we've just found the first mangrove pit viper, Trimeresuruspurpureomaculatus. I'll just show some in situ. That's where it's sitting. Right in ambush for any of these rats, frogs. Now this one is just sitting in ambush. We've seen a lot of frogs around here. Rats, small rats this would take. Mud skippers would even get up there on these branches, I would imagine. So that's what it's hoping to hunt for in that strike position. I'm not going to touch this one, of course. I'm not going to mess with it. It's in situ. Even if I really wanted to, I couldn't get anywhere near that. So I'm not going to risk falling into the mangrove water. That would be unwise, I think. So let's just get some shots and call this night a success.
After doing well in the mangroves, I headed inland to an area I decided to target for the beautiful pitviper, a snake which I'd struggled for throughout the last leg of the trip, and while I was struggling to find one, I saw these two tarantulas fighting, which I thought was interesting enough to include in the video.
Well guys, I've got one. That is Trimeresurusvenustus, the beautiful pitviper, and it is aptly named. It is a beautiful snake. And actually, I've been working with some other herpers who were staying at one of the resorts I was a while ago, and we've actually been trying for days for this snake. We agreed to, it was daft to sort of do our own thing. It was best to combine efforts, and I've found one, so I'm going to let him know. But that is a real sense of achievement because it's target achieved. We really struggled. This, I should mention as well, this is not a particularly rare species of Trimeresurus. I believe these are, fairly abundant where they're found. So to get this one has actually been surprisingly hard. But that is great news to see this one. These are quite a small species of Trimeresurus. I believe you would actually class this one as an adult, even though it's probably only just over a foot long. It could well be an adult male, this one. And they really are one of the jewels of herping around this Krabi area.
How to put the light, okay? Thanks for finding this for us.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm glad I could help out. It's been hard for me also to find this one.
The other herpetologists I called to this snake were actually doing some work on the fauna of this area, and so were permitted by the national park to retain this snake for a short time for sampling purposes, so I was glad I could contribute in a small way to their work.
Little Asian banded bullfrog hopping across the road in the rain. I've not been stopping for a lot of frogs, but these are one of my favourites. I do quite like these. I think they're funky little things. See you, buddy.
Again, I forgot to film an outro, so sorry for the abrupt ending, but thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.